Hi, everybody, and welcome to Grab Your Keys. I'm super excited for our guest today. Some housekeeping, though. If you know anyone that might like to listen to the podcast, you can feel free to share and like it with as many people as you want. But today we have Kate Butler. Kate and I were introduced to each other a little bit ago, and I just thought she's such an amazing person that I wanted to give her a formal introduction, but also have a great conversation with her. So Kate Butler is a publisher, a TV host, an author, a success lifestyle coach, pretty much every inspirational speaker, anything that you have on your bucket list, Kate is. So I'm super excited to hear some great inspirational stuff from Kate today. So Kate, welcome. Thank you so much for being on our show today.
I love all the time I get to spend with you, Sue. So I am super happy to be here.
Well, we have spent a lot of time together because you published Women Who Dream.
Yep.
So that was a book with 30 authors talking about how their dreams have come true and what's inspired them. And I think it's so great that you inspire so many people to pull from themselves. How did you get into the business that you're in and helping so many people grow and develop?
Well, it's actually going back a little ways now. Hard to think that my children are now 10 and 12, and this started when they were an infant and a toddler. So quite some years ago now. But it really started to, if I could go back to, it was kind of one of those defining moments in my life. I was 27 years old. I was diagnosed with a heart condition that required immediate heart surgery. I went to the University of Penn. They were able to fix my heart, if you will, without getting into all the details, which I'll spare you. It was an interesting time in my life. Here I am living with my best friend from childhood. She and all of our friends are talking about what concerts they're going to that summer and where they're going to eat that weekend. And based on what they were sharing with me at the doctor's office leading up to all of that, like, I don't even know that I make it to the summer, right? So it was a very interesting time, to say the least. It definitely opened me up to a very, very clear perspective of exactly what time it means in my life, exactly what dreams mean in my life, exactly, how to shift things to really show up and show up big every single day. So that was the commitment I made to myself. Now, fast forward to where I mentioned my daughters are an infant and a toddler. And I remember I was like kneeling down, like putting my daughter to bed. It was one of those toddler beds. They're like really close to the ground. So I was like kneeling, like rubbing her back. She fell asleep in a matter of seconds. And I found myself like still there. And I was like, I just can't get up. Like, I just can't, I'll start to cry. It's like, I can just literally feel myself in that moment. Like, I just can't get up. I can't go back to the monotony of that life. Like, one more second, I can't get up. I can't walk down the steps. I can't go back to my office. I can't open my email. What am I doing? Like, I made a promise those years ago when I was 27, like, you are going to show up every single day. And I realized in that moment, like, when you look at your littles, right, whoever they are in your life, niece, nephew, like neighbors that you love, it doesn't matter. You see people that you love and you're like, your potential is unlimited, right? And I was like, you can do all these things in your life. And I realized I was not showing up for any of that in my own life. And it was that defining moment that I said, I have to shut down the business that I'm in. I have to show up in a different way. That led me to my first children's book. And that first children's book opened me up 10 years ago to what you see today in my business. Wow. So that's really actually how that happened.
So that first children's book was More Than Mud?
More Than Mud, yep.
And that opened it up to sky's the limit of really showing up every single day.
Yeah.
And you do show up every single
real day. Story.
Yeah, we love raw and real. We're raw and real girls. So we get that, and you live that every single day. So that's amazing because it helps all of us, aspire to live in every single day and every single moment. And as I say, everything happens for a reason. We just need to walk through that door and see what that reason is. And you definitely instill that in your girls and in so many people that you touch every single day. So what do you feel besides living in every single day, what do you think your 3 keys to success are? If you could pick 3.
Yeah, right. Because it is something that I really try to be very conscious of, right? The things that are moving the needle. And so I think first and foremost, the I will say what I call the recharge, which is, this idea that we do not forget to charge our phone every night. We don't forget to charge our computers. And if we do, we like know it. Like if you wake up and your battery is dead in your phone, like, you know it. But there, I remind myself, I guess I should say, like, Kate, how often are you taking time to recharge yourself every single day?
I love that.
So this is about 5 minutes sometimes. Sometimes I need 20. It's not every day I need 20, but sometimes I do, and so it's like the more I don't have time for it, that's actually when I need to take more time. And so this will be reflection time, just connection time, quiet time, still time, journal time, walk time, like whatever that needs to be that day. That's my first thing. The second thing is what I call the cast of characters. So the myself. If there was a time in my life where everything was drama, and like I was like, why is everything around me like falling apart? Oh, maybe I'm the common denominator here, right? Like, you start to put these pieces together. And so once I changed the conversations and the people and who I spent time with, everything changed and everything shifted in my life.
So that was, 1 was the recharge, 2 was the cast of characters.
Yep. And the last one I think is really truly living my passion, right? Like really showing up for what I believe is my life purpose. That was a big risk for me. I sold a company to publish a children's book. I mean, like in other words, like I sold my company. I said, I'm just going to try this new thing. I had no idea what I was doing or where it was going to go. I sit here 10 years later, and sure, you can read off that bio in the beginning. But 10 years ago, there was nothing. And it was like, yeah, okay. So, but I just knew there was a pull for it, and honoring that pull every single day, which I believe leads me to my life purpose, and living that out. I would say that's the third key to really showing up every day and being able to be successful.
So the recharge, cast of characters, not letting the drama take control of you, and really living in your passion and owning it. I would say kind of you own what your passion is every single day, which I love. Who does Kate Butler admire?
So I just had this conversation earlier. It's funny enough, without like realizing this is where our discussion was going to go. This is probably my 8th call of the day. I met with a number of clients this morning, leading up to this. And I will tell you that every single phone call in which someone has the ability to be vulnerable with me, share their story, put themselves out there with the help of inspiring or healing someone else, that's who I admire. Like my clients are the bravest people I know. And so I actually said this to someone today. I was like, you're the star, you're the person, like you are the one, because you're the one putting your whole story out there, because this is going to help someone else. Right. So I would say, really in all of this, like my clients who are able to really show up for themselves and their passion, this is kind of like the ripple effect and where it moves forward from here. And I truly, truly admire the people who can do that.
That's so funny that you say that. Our first conversation, we spoke about vulnerability and actually understanding what your vulnerability is and how you can channel that vulnerability as being a positive thing for you. Because as women, we're taught that our vulnerability is a bad thing. Yeah. And our vulnerability it's not to have our vulnerability shine and not to like own it. Where I really feel that when you're able to own your vulnerability, it opens you to so many more possibilities. Because as soon as you can get that vulnerability and understand what your vulnerabilities are, it allows you to take those next 5 steps to really open up that passion and embrace that passion. So that's so great that you said that, because I know that was something that resonated in the conversation that we had.
Absolutely.
And it's so important. Vulnerability is definitely something, and I love that you said that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So so you published Women Who Dream, which was 30 authors. So why is Women Who Dream a must read for anyone, or any of the books that you are publishing, so to find inspiration?
This is a book that you can pick up, and you can open it up to any page, and whatever page you read is meant for you. There
I just happen to have a copy right here.
I just looked too, and I'm like, oh,
I know you looked. That's why I was like, I have it right here.
It's here, but it's in a pile. And it really is. It's a collection, as you mentioned, of 30 women. Their intention, every single woman, this because you and I had this conversation. It's like, here's the bottom line. Like, this series and this book is for women who want to help someone, heal someone, or inspire someone with their story. And if you don't want to do one of those three things, then there's a lot of publishers out there, but we're just not for you, right? So when you get a collection of 30 women together with a common intention like that, truly wanting to pour out and pour into others, this is an exceptional book. The energy of the book shows up before we do. And you can open to any page and those words will speak right into your soul. I don't know too many books that can do that, but this one does.
Yeah, it totally does. If someone wanted to write a chapter or write a book and felt they had a story, how would they start? How would they know if they were the right person to be a client of yours? How does that work?
Yeah, that's my favorite question, because I'm like, every single person has a story. People are like,
I have about 10.
Absolutely. Yeah, and who has 10? I love it. And it's like, people are like, I don't know, my story's good enough. Who's going to want to read it? Or they say, oh, my story's too much. It's too big and heavy for people. No one's going to want to read it. And I'm like, listen, it's everyone has the same conversation or thought. Everyone has a story that we can learn from. How they know if they want to put it out there, they're going to have a pull. They're going to have a desire. They're going to have a dream. They're going to have a wish to do that. If you have that pull, it's because your story is supposed to be out there for someone else to gain value from that, and it is not the easiest thing to do. It does take courage, but at the end of the day, it's really not about us. It's about how that story is going to go out into the world and make a difference, right? So that's what we do. If that message resonates with you, I love helping authors, especially first-time authors, get into the rhythm of writing a book. We take away all of the guesswork. It's a step-by-step, easy plug-in process. And we do it that way so it's enjoyable. It's not overwhelming. It's actually fun. And then you're guaranteed to be a bestseller at the end. It's like a win-win all the way around, for the reader, for you, for everybody involved.
Right. What projects are you working on now?
So currently, we have a book that is called Dear Younger Self. And this is clearly, the title says it all. Right. This is a beautiful collection of what you would want to have known, right? Advice, guidance. It's a beautiful, beautiful collection of that. After that, we are actually stepping into a book called, let me get it right, because I actually just sent this over to our team. It's called Moments That Matter.
Oh.
So this is about, clearly a moment. Instead of like your younger self is one thing. What do I wish I would have known? This is kind of like different. This is taking, like, now that you've lived this life, I mentioned a defining moment to you in the beginning of our conversation. We all have those, and they move people, and they're important to share. So that book is all around those defining moments.
I love that. Moments that matter. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Great. I know that all the moms listening, and we have lots of working moms that listen to this, they would kill me if I didn't ask you, with having a 9-year-old and 12-year-old girls, how do you balance the time to recharge your battery, the time to love and live in, having two girls that occupy so much of your time and having this like rock star career? How do you balance it?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, not super well all the
Yeah.
time. Like at the end of the day, like I appreciate all of those things, but we're all just doing the best we can with what we have at the end of the day. And we're all human, having this experience. What I really try to do, first of all, I am over that not asking for help thing.
Right.
Like that's it. I'm completely over that. I'm gonna also just say this. I am really clear about not doing things that don't move the needle. So I don't want to sit and do laundry for 7 hours. Like that doesn't, the dirty laundry is going to be back the next day.
Right.
It didn't move the needle. So if I can ask for help and get somebody into support in that way, and I can do other things that are going to move the needle, not just for me and my career, but also help another author get published and fulfill their dream, I'm going to spend my time doing that stuff. So I'm really clear about where I'm spending my time and how I'm spending it. And that's really, really helpful because I was trying to do all of the things all of the time and I wasn't doing anything great. And I just thought, you know what? Like, I don't even want to be doing these other things. I'm not good at them and I don't even want to be doing them. So I'm just going to ask for help, and I'm going to ask for support, and I'm going to relinquish the things that really just aren't in my lane. And that was ridiculously helpful to give myself permission to be able to do that. Because at first I'm like, who do you think you are? You can hire somebody to come in and do it. No, at the end of the day, first, that person is so happy to be receiving that paycheck. And that opens up a whole new world for them. And for me, I get to stay in my lane. Again, win-win for everybody involved, right?
I also learned that early on of having, because my children are 19 and 22, it was so important for me to ask for that help of the things that I didn't want to do, didn't like to do, didn't move the needle. And I think the sooner that you can get to that clarity, it's so important to move and walk through that door and not feel a guilt, not feel that you shouldn't be asking for that, because as you said it, those people who are doing that for you and helping you, they're getting something from it. That's what they love to do. I loved when my first sitter said, do you mind if I do the ironing? I really find ironing, it calms me. I was like, rock on, sister. Like, do as much of that ironing as you want.
No, they're like, this is like therapeutic for me. I'm like, okay, great. That's amazing,
Yeah, let me like get work. That's therapeutic to me. So solving a problem is therapeutic a lot of the time for other people. So I totally agree with you on that. So what's next in the life of Kate Butler?
So we have season 2 of our TV show coming up that
How do people find you on TV?
Yeah, so the show is called Where All Things Are Possible. You can find it on all of our socials. We drop all the links. It's also on the RVN network, which is available via Roku. So you can stream it there as well. So there's a lot of different places that you can access that. So that is really, really exciting. And we have a lot of new programs coming up, actually. People have been asking us to wrap some structure around a lot of the things that we put out content wise, like how to write a book on your own and, different, techniques of how to stay, kind of in line with your zone of genius and, different areas of success. And so we've been able to wrap a lot of structure around some of these things that we put out to our audience. And so all of that's going to be unfolding as well.
That's super exciting. And one last question is, well, I have two last questions because one just popped into my mind. How do you always stay so positive?
When I'm negative, it makes me feel like crap.
Yeah.
Like I just have like, as soon as I go there, I'm like, it's like not even like, it's so interesting. It's like, that is a real thing. Like I have, this is not an act. It's not shtick. It's like, I had my employee say to me the other day, we had some transition in the back end of our company, and she said, "You must just be having such a moment. Like, I know you're putting on a brave face, but you just must be like, you should go cry, sit in the corner, have yourself a pity party, and come back." I would be doing that if I were you. And I said, like, that stung for a minute. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still human. I still have the emotions. It's not about that. It's about, do I want to stay in that place of like feeling like crap about what just unfolded? Or do I want to find a solution, like you just said, right? Do I want to problem solve? And that actually makes me feel energized. That
Right.
makes me feel excited. And that makes me feel, if you want to call it happy, fine. Right. And I just was honest with her. I said, no, I'm not putting on a face for you. Like, that stung when I got that information. And now we're moving on because this makes
Right.
me feel a lot better. You know what I mean? And so just more about choices, right? Making
Right.
that choice in that moment. How do I want to feel? Our emotions are our indicator whether we're on track or off track. If I'm feeling like crap, I know I'm off track. That's not doing anyone any good. And if I am feeling good, energized, joyful, whatever you want to call that emotion, then I know I'm on track and I'm actually getting somewhere, forward motion.
Yeah.
That makes me feel amazing. We have that choice in every moment. I'm not perfect, but I really like to choose something that makes me feel good.
Yeah, I like having that choice. I like you saying having that choice, and everything happens for a reason. Even that question just popping into my head didn't really happen, probably for no reason. So the world needed to hear what you just had to say. so, so I think that that's amazing, and you do have a choice, and your choices are yours,
Mhm.
and you can own those choices for sure. So if anyone wanted to get in touch with Kate Butler, how would they do that?
Sure. So I play the most on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Kate Butler Books across all of the platforms.
Okay.
So just one word, Kate Butler Books. And simple, my website is katebutlerbooks.com. And there's also a contact form on my website if you have a specific question, but just to engage and have some fun and start a conversation, definitely connect on social. And then if there's something specific, if you're interested in writing a book or talking about that process, katebutlerbooks.com is an amazing place to start, and a ton of free resources on there as well, from a success and mindset perspective, and also from a book writing perspective, tons of free resources.
Well, Kate, I am so super happy that our paths have crossed. You have become a very good friend of mine. So I'm super excited about that. And I can't wait to see what the future holds, for you and your children and girls and all the people that you help. So thank you so much for joining us today. And everyone, remember to like and share, grab your keys, and we'll see you next time on Grab Your Keys.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Kate.